So we're 20 weeks in, we've done a lot. But can you remember what we've done with Power Query? Harry, lads and lasses, welcome along. Weekend work. I thought for Power Query, for the query piece, we'd have a bit of a look back and think about some of the stuff that we've done in Power Query, because we've covered an awful lot. So let's cut an hour and have a look at some of the stuff that we've really gone through and covered. Champion. So we've covered things like unpivot, haven't we? Where we can take something that's in a fairly standard format. Like if it was me reading it, I could make sense of it, where we like to put things in different columns. Right, so we might put a year in a different column next to each other, so we kind of end up with a matrix to start with, and that's kind of quite a human way of working. Unpivot then allows you to convert that into columns, so it's much easier to recognise, and then Power BI can process the columns, and then you simply filter in what would effectively be your attributes to get what it is you want. A common way of doing things. It's surprisingly common actually when you start to get into Power BI how often you will be doing unpivot. We've done things with merging where you merge it through, and then effectively that's like in Excel parlance that would be like your index match or your VLOOKUP. You can also, when you're doing that though, you can aggregate your functions, so you can actually use that to do an aggregation if you need aggregated columns. There's a lot of power in the way that they merge those data sets through. We've gone in as well and we've written some custom functions. So here we've got quite an advanced custom function written that's going to help us remove excess text or invalid characters from a string. And we wrote this function a while ago. This was actually pre-weekend work, but we've done stuff like that similar as part of weekend work. We've also, obviously as part of weekend work, done lots of functions that are going to help us in terms of these helper columns or these helper queries when we've gotten multiple files to process through. Common, very common. But it's all about becoming familiar and getting into the idea and the concepts of what's actually going on, so that we can understand and appreciate what the applied steps are and what's actually being meant by what's happening at each one. And getting comfortable as well with the idea that we can go back up through if there's an error and find out, well, what's caused that error. Overall, in the last 20 weeks, I think we've covered a great deal with the query editor side. And what I'm looking to do now is think, well, where do we need to go from here? Where's the next step going to be? Because we've got lots happening, and I think it might be time that we start looking at some of the machine learning capabilities. The issues with this is it is going to necessitate a bit of a switch over, I think, into starting to use some of the premium per user features. So please let me know if you want us to push into the premium per user or premium side as well. The price point for premium per user, I think, makes it a good choice for a lot of people. But for some businesses, it's still going to be a no. So I'm conscious I need to decide whether we're going to do that or not. So we've had a bit of a whistle-stop tour, haven't we? Kind of what we've covered already in weekend work around the query editor side. You can use query editor to really bring together and mash in lots of data together. The important things being it's an ETL script generator, so the actual process isn't doing anything directly while you're doing it. It's building a script that will then be run when you run a refresh. The refresh is typically run when you close and apply, but it's be aware that you might find there's errors that creep in after the fact. The main thing with this is to understand that query editor is incredibly powerful. As we start to move forward and going into the next 20 weeks of weekend work or so, I'm really going to be looking at what we can do with some of the machine learning side, doing sentiment analysis, that kind of piece on the data as it comes through. You know, can we do this? Can we analyze it? And in particular, how does that all work when we're using data flows? Because to me, for a small, medium-sized business, you're going to use data flows, right? You know, as you get into your enterprise side, yeah, you're probably going to be looking to use Dataverse and other sides of things more. But I think the capabilities cross over well. So we're going to focus more on that whole data flows side and keep our Power BI only environment as what we're going to use for weekend work. It's not, you know, if you're saying, well, we're a small business, we're going to use Dataverse, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying Dataverse isn't the right thing to do. I'm just saying for the sake of what we're doing, I think it makes sense to use data flows more. So let us know what you think. Let me know if there's something that you're like, oh, I'm struggling with this issue. I'm really stuck. I don't know how to do, right? And we'll do a video about it. We'll help you as we can sort some stuff out. Don't forget, heading out to geordieintelligence.co.uk. We've got the training courses starting again on. The UK based and the US based intermediate courses in Power BI and Power Query are fantastic. They are looking really good. In terms of saying, oh, if you're UK based, you've got to do UK. If you're US, you've got to do US. Don't feel you need to. You know, you can do either one will work for you. They're using different data sets and they're going to give subtly different spin on things. But obviously we're aiming to cover the same that we need to cover so that you can do your data analytics or your Power BI Data Associates course afterwards or exams afterwards. It's that kind of a prep session. So let us know what you think as well. Don't forget, like and subscribe down below. Head on over, become a member, join up the courses. Right? Have a great weekend. Ta-da.